And he was targeted in a scam. A woman falsely claimed he got her pregnant with twins. And as Jim Murray reports, he may not be
Since I became pregnant by The Bachelor, there were two men who I have restraining orders against who contacted that Bachelor, who contacted content creators, and they decided that it was free game to talk about my past. They said that I had done this before, and in saying that I had done this before, they meant that I had been pregnant before, which I have. I've been pregnant twice before, which is something that I really didn't want to come out because I thought people would judge me for it. And people have already. I know they have. And I did have 2 abortions in the past, but it was not their right to.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Doll, where we do what? A little bit of cussing around here, so your parental advisory has been advised. This is a pre-recorded video where we do what? Get into somebody's damn business. All views and opinions matter, but understand I've been giving out a bad opinion since 1978, baby. And if you ever feel triggered, just remember we're not talking about you, but we're talking about the people on the screen. Now let's get into this mess. So Laura Owens, if you don't know, we did a video and we did a part 1. There's going to be several parts. This is old news, but we are going to talk about it. Try to get caught up as much as we can because she is due to go to court early 2026. Laura, some call her a pregnancy scammer. I call her pregnancy scam likely. She's into a little bit of fraud, scam, and she likes to lie. And I love all of those things together, not because it is entertaining. No, it's just mind-boggling, if you will, to just sit back and watch how people manipulate another person and make them feel like they're a little crazy. And someone on Reddit called her an emotional terrorist. And I said, you know what? That's cute and clever. However, let's get into The Bachelor, Clayton Echard and Laura Owens when they first met, in case you don't know about them. They met on May the 20th, 2023. She did reach out to Clayton via his LinkedIn, and she did solicit Clayton to be her realtor, okay? And he fell for the bait. Now, allegedly what happened is they were exchanging some text messages. Things got a little flirty. I guess she sent him a little naughty picture, allegedly. And next thing you know, he has her over at the house. At the house, what happened? She claims that they took edibles, so they were, I guess, high, allegedly, and 2 BJs. And if you are in the back and you're like, what's a BJ? That is a blow and a job. Put that together. This is YouTube. Sometimes they don't like you to be grown. She gave him 2 blowjobs, okay? Now, allegedly, according to her, something happened while they were rolling around on the couch, on the bed, or wherever they was at inside of his home. She said they were naked and he accidentally slid inside of one of her openings and she pushed him away because it was unprotected. She didn't want to get pregnant or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, right? Now, after that happened, Clayton told her, not that same day, but later on, he lets her know, hey, that was a big mistake. I had no business letting that get to that point, and we can't continue to do this. We need to keep it professional, so on and so forth. She wanted to continue business as usual, and I guess act like she didn't just give him 2 BJs. I wasn't there. I don't know. And he was supposed to pass her over, refer her to someone else, one of his colleagues, because he didn't want to work with her because, he let things get he was irresponsible, okay? Let's just say that. However, Laura wasn't having it. She was not having it, and she wanted him to still do what she wanted him to do. So what did she do? 11 days later, after they had their exchange and after he let her know how he was feeling and that they can't continue like this, he doesn't want a relationship or even a situationship. He doesn't want her as a booty call. He doesn't want any more blowjobs, baby. He doesn't want anything else to do with her. 11 days later, she says it's a possibility that she's pregnant. And I know you're thinking, well, wait, I thought you said that they didn't have sexual relations. Remember, allegedly, she said that they were naked. They were rolling around, playing a little twister. He accidentally slid in. She pushed him out. Now, some men, if that did happen, I wasn't there. Now, some men think if we didn't go all the way, that there's no way in hell you could be pregnant. But they do have something that occurs called that warm-up fluid. You know, the release, the sneaky leak, and that is leak that can come out of that opening. All right. And usually you may think, well, you can't get pregnant from that. Well, they say if there is some cross contamination and there is some leftover swimmers, it is a possibility that a woman can get pregnant from the sneaky leak. Okay, if you look on the screen, there's a little bit of information on that, preview fluid that can come out of there and what may or may not happen to you based off of, what she is saying. So we have a woman who is pregnant from the early release of a leak of fluids from a man's penis and 2 blowjobs. All right. Now, what happens? Well, of course, Clayton is in a panic because he's sitting there thinking to himself, now, wait a minute. She only gave me a BJ, not once, but twice. And according to Laura, she said she did digest and swallow those fluids. Okay, so he's sitting back thinking, there's no way in hell. Keep in mind, this is only 11 days later, which is absolutely insane. I feel like you hear about someone speaking about a pregnancy or a possible pregnancy 11 days later when they are planning to have a baby with their partner and they're paying close attention to, their ovulation and dates, so on and so forth. We're talking about a random hookup where you had no business on your knees anyway. Baby, you didn't know this man. But anyway, let's not even go there right now. Now, according to Justice for Clayton Official, where I am getting most of my information from, because they are the ones who pretty much laid all of this out. You have Dave Neal, who was reporting on this, and you have a host of other people who have been following this since everything was exposed. They said many have speculated that Laura Owens deliberately sought Clayton out for her scam. She formed a new LLC in Arizona, and her parents refinanced their home. Laura does live with her parents to obtain large sums of cash. And within about a month of her very first message to Clayton, all of a sudden, she's pregnant. Okay, so we're just trying to get into the mind of a pregnancy scam, likely because he's not the only victim. Unfortunately, she's done this before. This time, I guess she feels like, oh, we hit the jackpot. And I don't even think it had anything to do with wanting whatever money that she thought he had. I think it has everything to do with she has some mental health issues that are being ignored, obviously. I'm just going to say that's what it is. If you ask me, that's what I think, but I don't know. I'm not her doctor, nor have I had any access to her medical records. What I will say is this. Just because somebody is dealing with a mental health crisis, there is an impact to the other people. I don't want to offend anybody. Anybody can be listening to this, but there's an impact, and he is a victim as well as the other men. Hell, at this time, it looks like her parents are a victim, but I'm going to save that for later. Laura is sending him text messages, letting him know about this possible pregnancy, the audacity and the nerve to give him a choice on what she's going to do about it if he is willing to date her and be exclusive with her. Meaning, hey, if you date me, I'll go and terminate the pregnancy. If not, I am going to move forward and have this baby. I am paraphrasing, but what I want to get into is just a few of these messages, and they will appear on the screen just so that you can understand how somebody like a Laura can manipulate someone, and just so that you can see the delusion and the audacity. Okay? All right, let's get into it. So these text messages were exchanged between Laura and Clayton on the dates of May 25th through the 26th, okay? So the text messages that I am going to read, I am pulling from Justice for Clayton Official Instagram. They might not make sense to you, but they are on the screen for you to read along with me. But basically, Laura is claiming that she's fertile, and they're talking about taking this plan B. So Laura starts off in the text message and it says, obviously, my mind has ping ponged about this since then, and you were emphatic about me not bringing up anything that wasn't professional or friend like, of which this situation is neither. I desperately wanted to figure out how to bring it up to you and thought that if we could just get together and talk openly, we could, but you didn't want that until a deal was closed, which would be too late to take it. We're talking about the plan B right now. I wanted to ask you how you felt about me taking it from a religious standpoint, but we didn't get a chance to. Clearly, I was factoring in things that made me panic and led to a total breakdown in communication. She lets him know that my podcast had a fertility test kit as a sponsor. And so, yes, I know I'm fertile. At this point, from my overwhelming research on Plan B since Sunday, it's most effective 3 days after, but can still work 5 days out, meaning this is the last day I could take it and have a hope of it working if it needs to. Right there, if you don't know, that's where she is manipulating the situation. In case he doesn't know what a Plan B is and how it works, she's saying that, 3 days is what is suggested. They do suggest the first 24 hours is crucial to take that plan B, but you have up to 3 days. But she's adding on the extra few days so that it fits her narrative and their timeline. Now, I do have the calendar on the screen so that you can see they met the 20th. She said something about what she was going through on Sunday, which would be the 21st. These text messages are May 25th through the 26th. He's already let her know that he's made this mistake. He can't continue to have this type of situationship or entanglement with her. He made a mistake. He should have kept it professional. So we're only like 6-7 days in, and she's coming up with this, I'm fertile, I'm worried, maybe I need to take a plan B. All right. So there's just a little bit of a time stamp, if you will, with all of this mess. Let's continue with the text message. So I'm going to repeat myself. Where we left off is where she said that she was doing some research on the Plan B since Sunday. It's most effective 3 days after, but can still work 5 days out, meaning this is the last day I could take it and have a hope of it working if it needs to. If you have any thoughts about this, I'm open to hearing you out if and only if you are kind and respectful. This has been extremely stressful on me. She let him know, if I don't hear back from you, I'm not going to take the Plan B. You're obviously free to think that I'm full of shit, but I'm not. I'll take it as a sign that you don't care what happens either way, and we'll just allow God's will, whatever that is, to be the determining factor. She continues, if I do test positive in a few weeks, though, there is a 0% chance of it being anyone's but yours. I take any test to prove it. And at that point, any input from you won't matter, is what she lets him know. So Clayton says, take the plan B. I support that. Now, keep in mind, some of you will say, well, wait a minute. Why is he supporting the plan B if he feels like the only thing that happened between these two was 2 blowjobs? Well, remember, I told you she said in her story and her side of what happened that they did the roll around in the hay naked and he accidentally slid into the opening and she pushed him away. All right. Now, we already talked about that. So she said in response to his take the plan B, I support that. Lauren's response to Clayton saying take the plan B, he's in support of that. She says, you have been really dismissive of my thoughts and feelings, and it's a bigger thing for me to think about now than it was when this originally happened. After all, I do want to have kids. I'm not basing what I'm doing off of a 2-sentence response. Woo, we got ourselves a live firecracker here, don't we, boys and girls? All right, so she sends another message. It is now Thursday, May the 25th. Keep in mind, they met on May the 20th. Can you imagine? You went and had the time of your life, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Looks like those two BJs wasn't worth his time. However, can you imagine you meeting somebody on May the 20th and May the 25th? You are having talks about her being fertile and taking the plan B and wanting to have kids. Child, this is a mess. So she says, let me tell you how serious I am about all of this, since you think it was a plot to hold on to you. If you were to tell me that we could date, if I admitted to making it up, as you called it before, I would tell you no can do. None of this is made up, and I am genuinely panicked. I cannot be more serious about this, is what Lauren continues to say. So Laura is manipulating Clayton at this point in time. Some of you will say she's gaslighting him to get him to respond to her, because he's keeping it short, cute, and on mute. He said, listen, take the plan B. I support that. And he's not going back and forth with her with all of this other nonsense that she's getting into. Clayton, I assume, is realizing that he has a live firecracker in his inbox, and he lets her know, I'm debating filing a police report. Please leave me alone. And in response, Laura says, if you file a police report because A, I'm trying to figure out about plan B tonight, and B, I'm trying to figure out the status of my offers I made last night, and you won't even tell me if they are active or not, I will file a police report with the AAR, which I'm absolutely entitled to do, but don't want to. Can you please help me simply figure out these issues? At least you said you would be part of the child's life if I'm pregnant and pay child support, which makes me feel better not taking it. Thank you. Did I mention that they met on May the 20th, and this is the May 25th through the 26th? We're not even talking about 7 to 10 business days. In response to what she said, Clayton says, no, I would file a police report for harassment and would get a protection order. These messages alone would be enough to enact one. There has not been a response to either offer. So in 2 hours, they will be inactive. But again, I have text trying to transfer you over to my brokerage and you declined. So you have no case against me for the AAR. I did my due diligence. He continues and he says, and I looked into the rules for what a father has to provide. And at the minimum, he would have to pay child support, but have no involvement other than financial, which is exactly what I would do. Be completely absent. You would get a check in the mail and that's it. You'd never see me and I would never help other than financially. But again, you're not pregnant because I did not pre-cum. So this is all hypothetical. It's funny you're trying to get me to believe I pre-came. I can feel it when it happens, and I know without a doubt that I didn't. So again, one more thing you're just making up. So this is right here when we do have to ask the hard question. So if we're talking about a little bit of a starter leakage and fluid, he's saying that obviously, maybe I wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe the slip up of the interest did happen and it was really quick. Maybe he didn't put it in all the way and he is standing 10 toes down on that little quick, I'm not going to include in what happened on my side of the story, because there's 3 sides to a story. They say it's your side, my side, and then their truth, right? We weren't there. However, he says he knows when his Mr. Man is leaking, he would have felt it. Okay. This is some wild shit. And I must say, he is a savage. My God, on today, this is a lesson to women that you have to be careful. There are men out here that will send you a check, pay that child support, and tell you right here in black and white, like Clayton told Laura, I will pay for the child, but I don't want nothing to do with you or that baby. I don't think some people felt that when all of this information was coming out. They felt like, oh my God, Clayton is a savage and he is less of a man for not wanting to take care of this so-called child. Or is Clayton just being harsh because he knows she's really not pregnant and she's playing a dirty game with him right now and trying to manipulate him. So in response to that text message, she's now talking about the offers, which is now the real estate, business and contract. And it says, I didn't know that you didn't withdraw my offers. You said I would have to resign or resubmit, which I didn't want to do because then I wouldn't be taken seriously. I wanted to keep them active since we signed a contract. I emailed you this afternoon to get an update. No response. I just emailed your agency prior to your response to ask the status. Please keep me posted on it and tell me how I can make a counter offer. I have also checked into it with an attorney, so if you want to challenge me on it being an AAR violation, go ahead. It is. And she continues to say, that's pretty awful about what you said you would do as a 30-year-old man to an innocent child, especially since I know your reputation is important to you. Mine is too. And I would be a great mom. All I have asked you for is kindness as I figure it out tonight. And it was come of some sort. He said there was no pre-cum. She said it was cum of some sort. I don't know the difference between the types of cum, but I know what I felt years ago when I was on the pill and my ex came inside of me, and it felt like that to me. I know that's what I felt in and around my vagina, which would be the ultimate landing spot for it. Don't try to portray me as some nut job just because it makes you feel better. Oh, this, wow, how can I have a straight face reading this? Can you imagine? Oh my God. She continues and says, I understand that we are both fired up because this is a highly emotional topic, but it doesn't need to be a nasty fight. We can talk civilly about this. I just want to remind y'all one more time, she met him on May the 20th. These text messages are May the 25th and May the 26th, not even 7 to 10 business days. Wow. Woo, my God. She continues on. She said, I would not do it unless you filed something against me. She's talking about the AAR again, because she's saying that he is in violation and that she was going to, get with her attorney to challenge him on this. So she continues with her text message. She said, I would not do it unless you filed something against me. But if anyone had a right to file for order of protection, had any reason for worry, it would be me. You are being nothing but cruel. You were saying that if I said I made this all up, fine. But if I said I was worried about being pregnant, you would block me. And then you're telling me that you would be this horrible father to try to convince me to not take plan B, all while you're still technically my realtor for another 45 minutes. And I doubt you'd even tell me if my offer was accepted. So we're talking about business and pleasure right now, which they don't go together, unfortunately. The text messages continues, and Laura says, I watched about a half an hour of clips today from The Bachelor for the first time. Girl, bye. I didn't know that you had such a cold side until today and was truly stunned at what I saw and experienced firsthand. You can turn this around and be nice. If you saw my message, I said I'd likely have until tomorrow if you want to sleep on it. I'm not taking it unless it is for a good reason, and don't even have it to trade tonight. Does that sound reasonable? Now she's talking about business and says, and can you also please tell me what happened with my offers? There's an address here that is redacted. And she said, is the sale pending at $425,000? Couldn't that be our offer? So Clayton is still ignoring her, and she says, I'll wait until 9:30 to be sure because I don't want to email them if it makes you look bad. But the EMD lender is on me now to let him know if he needs to send money. I want to close on these houses if I got them and need to know how to do that if you're not willing to help. I emailed your agency a few hours ago and have not gotten a response. Now, there is an attachment here from her emailing someone by the name of John about the offer. And John said, I didn't receive an offer from you or Clayton. And in response, she is now talking to John, letting John know who she is, apologizing for the late email. And she was checking the status on an offer on a property that she's been trying to get an answer from her realtor, Clayton. All right. So she sends that attachment and proof to Clayton and says, can you please explain what he's talking about? And this is related to John saying that he doesn't know who the hell she is or what offer she's even talking about. So the text messages continue, and it is now May the 26th, Friday. And she says, Clayton, if you can't answer me, please connect me with your broker to ask him what happened and what the status is. All right. So that was 9:15 a.m. It is now May the 26th, still Friday, and it's 3:55 p.m. And she said, you might want to check your email regarding what I was told about Saturday night. Told you I wasn't crazy. No, I have not taken plan B. She lets him know not responding won't change whether or not I'm pregnant, and lets him know there are more public avenues to alert you to if I am, which I don't want to use. Oh, not you, not you telling him you're going to blow up his spot and use public avenues to do so. She lets him know I would rather deal with you and just keep it between us, okay? So now she's back to talking about the property. She says, I don't even know what to say, honestly. I feel like this whole week has been a nonstop panic attack. You are so damn talented and smart with real estate. So it crushes me to see that you self-sabotaged here when you could have done over a $1 million in deals this week. I've had everything ready to go and you dropped the ball. I don't want to see this happen to someone else and will report you to the AAR and your company unless you give me an explanation as to why you A, didn't submit the offer on the property after you claim you did, and B, didn't tell me that you had spoken to. Well, the message cuts off after that. So now she's saying, as a courtesy, I just sent you what I'm going to send your boss if I don't hear from you by 6 o'clock, because I need to figure out how to proceed from here. I can't get myself to send it right now. I'm just extremely upset and disappointed right now. And for some bizarre reason, I still believe in you despite how you're acting. It is now May the 26th at 7:21 p.m. And she said, never mind, I'm sending it. I need help with properties, and you said your broker is the best. You have been so cold and left me in the lurch with the way you're acting. I would never consider getting an abortion if I'm pregnant because you can't even treat me or listen to me like I'm a human being. Being kind and understanding would have gone a long way. So pretty much Clayton is like, girl, F this shit, I'm out of here.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thing.
If I didn't let you know, I do a little bit of cussing around here. I do a lot of cussing, actually. So if you're not into profanity, baby, I do apologize. I have a potty mouth. Pretty much Clayton said, I'm out of this shit. Listen, Clayton said, F that kid, F you, F all of this. I'm done, is pretty much what he's given. Because she's talking to herself at this point in time. So I can only assume maybe he has her blocked or he's just ignoring her. It is now Thursday, June the 1st, and she says to him, please check your email. It is now June the 1st, and it's 4:47 p.m. Now that please check your email on June the 1st was sent at 3:46 p.m. And at 4:47 p.m., June the 1st, she says, I'm pregnant. I went to the doctor today and have explained everything in the email. That confirms it's yours.
Well, shit.
Girls, did y'all hear this shit here? My God, on today or maybe tomorrow. He met her on May the 20th. They were going back and forth about a plan B. May the 25th through the 26th. June 1st, she lets him know, I'm pregnant and it's yours. According to Clayton, no type of sex or pre-cum happened, just 2 blowjobs. She's pregnant and it's June the 1st, 2023. On June 1st, she also sent her proof of pregnancy via her discharge and paperwork from down there to the clinic. I assume, I can't really see based off of the screenshots here on the, documents that I'm looking at via the screenshot of the text messages. Baby Clayton, he's nowhere to be found. He is still ignoring her text messages. In our next video, we are going to get into the harassing emails from Laura to Clayton prior to her going public, letting the people know about her pregnancy. Baby, she was contacting his parents. She was contacting his place of employment, contacting different people where he had speaking engagements scheduled at. And we will get into that in our next video. I want to take it slow. I don't want to overwhelm you if you're just now hearing about this as well. I don't watch The Bachelor. Of course, I know what The Bachelor and The Bachelorette is, but I'm more so of a raunchy type of gal. I come from Flavor of Love. I love New York, with my good girl, Tiffany Pollard. You know what I mean? I do watch Love is Blind. But that's as far as it goes for me, to be quite honest with you. I like a little bit of drama and mess when I'm watching a dating show. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I am not a bachelorette girl or a bachelor girl. However, of course, I know all about it. And when one of the dolls came to my inbox and shared this story with me, and I said, oh, I love a scammer. I love somebody who scams, you tell a little lie, and then you get caught. I like that, but when you get caught, you stand 10 toes down. You ride that lie out to the point where now you are facing prison time. Yeah, sign me up, okay? So let me know what you think so far. Do you feel like Laura is definitely in need of some help for her mental health that her parents obviously, if I just want to sit there and assume and speculate, something's going on with her on the upstairs part of her brain, okay? And this shit is not okay because, again, he's not the only victim, unfortunately. She's still in court with another man with a similar incident that involves a pregnancy as well. So, honey, let me know what you think. Comment down below. November 1st is what it is. And every day of November, I am going to make it my business to do a little bit of something from this Laura Owens and Clayton Echard situation. I believe they were just on Inside Edition. So we're not the only ones that are late to this whole blow up and this situation that we are going to be tuned in for in the beginning of 2026 to see if they're going to make an example out of Laura, because sometimes male victims in situations like this, sometimes it does get swept up under the rug. Okay, Lord forbid if you have a reputation and you might be considered a ladies' man, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes things like this can get swept up under the rug. I think they're going to definitely make an example out of her. We shall see. Let me know what you think, and let me know, are you going to be tuned in for us getting caught up on this 2023 tea on Laura and Clayton from The Bachelor? Bye.
And goodbye.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Unfiltered Doll Reactions.
Alright, slave.
Oh, what you working for? Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good. Fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts. I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong. I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth. Can't